Hello, my name is Willem van Jaarsveld, and today I want to talk to you about the 2015 course. It's a year course that I'm presenting in order to get people from where they are at to where they want to be. Now, seldomly in my career I've found that when people come and see me for counseling or for business advice, that they are exactly sure of where they are at. When I was in the army, we used to, if you do map reading, you must first determine where you are at. Then you must determine where you want to be. And then you must determine what road you need to follow from where you are at to where you want to be. Now in the Bible, there's a verse that says that if you decide something, a light will shine on your way. Meaning it will make, if you've made a decision, it will become clear and obvious what you need to do in order to achieve what you've decided. Now, what I call that is a bridge of light. So, if you know where you are at, and you know where you want to go, and you've decided that having known where you are at and knowing where you want to go, you've decided that you want to achieve that, it is as if God builds a bridge of light for you. Now, Pink sang the song by the name of Bridge of Light. And she starts with these words: just when you think hope is lost and giving up is all you got, and blue turns black, your confidence is cracked. What do you do when your confidence is cracked? How do you go about? Now, Einstein was well known for having said that real madness is when you keep on doing the same thing expecting different results. Now, the only thing that I'm introducing is to get a structured model whereby you can go about for the rest of your life, not only knowing what to do first, but also seeing the end from the beginning, as Stephen R. Covey says. It's very important that maybe if I'm now today 51 years old, I must be able to now already determine where I want to be at 65. How it's going to look like. So one of the first things I do with my clients is to determine where you are at and what house you've got, what car have you got, what's your income now, to what extent is your relationships happy and healthy, and then to determine how do you want it to be in future. Now, as soon as you've assessed where you are at, and in addition to that practical house and car and that, I do 10 analysis to determine where you are as a person, a personality test. Then I test your genetics and brain profile. Then I do a spiritual assessment test. Why? Because there's 28 talents. I determine what is your first, your second, your third, down to 28 talents, so that you can know what you must focus on. So this is not, I once saw a car and on the back there was a sticker that says, try Jesus. I'm not suggesting try Jesus in as much as come to me and let's see whether we can work something out. I've been doing what I'm doing now for 30 years. So when you come to me and we do those 10 assessments, looking at your genetics, at your environmental influences on your life and so forth, it will clearly and very precisely describe where you are at. Knowing where you are at, we then go and determine where you want to be in 3 different facets. Secularly, meaning what car do you want to drive in future? What house do you want to stay in future? How do you want your relationships to be? How do you want your family to look like? Having determined that, it's very easy to determine the steps of the ladder towards that. Secondly, we look at the spiritual facet. So, on a personal basis, we look at your secular dreams, and on a spiritual basis, we look at your calling. What do you want to do for the community in which you are operating? How are you going to go about it so that you can achieve both secular and spiritual goals, not feeling guilty when you do only spiritual things or only secular things, and thereby impeding the process of attaining and achieving what you can and want to. Thirdly, we do a business structure for you. So if you want to be there secularly, and if you want to be at a specific point as far as schooling is concerned, then we say, so what's the vision? How are you going to go about to earn the resources, whether it be people working with you or for you, whether it be money, whether it be income, in order to achieve those goals. So the business facet, the entrepreneurial facets, main goal is to say, okay, now, in order to become where I want to be secularly and also to achieve my calling, I must now structure it in the form of a written plan for personal and entrepreneurial development to ensure that I can achieve my dreams. Now, one of the other things that Pink sings in Bridge of Light is, and when you're convinced that you're all alone, look at the stars instead of the dark. You'll find your heart shines like the sun. Now, what's very important is, when it's dark, there's also stars. But what you focus on will determine where you're going to end at. So what we say is that maybe you've been unsuccessful, or not half as successful as you wanted to be up until now. Maybe you've been on a wrong path. We'll repath you by restructuring the way you think, feel, do, and achieve. Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to me. Enjoy Bridge of Light, now sung by Viandi, in order to get the full context of what I'm trying to say, in which we're going to assist you during this course. Thank you very much. Bye.
When you think hope is lost and giving up is all you got, blue turns black, your confidence is cracked, there seems no turning back from here. Sometimes there isn't an obvious explanation why the holiest hearts can feel the strongest palpitations. That's where you can build a bridge of light. That's what turns the wrong so right. That's why you gotta be strong tonight. That's when love turns nighttime into day. That's when loneliness goes away. That's why you gotta be strong tonight. 'Cause only love can build us a bridge of light. When your feet are made of stone and you're convinced that you're all alone, look at the stars instead of the dark. You'll find your heart shines like the sun. Let's not let our anger get us lost. And the need to be right comes with way too high a cost. That's when you can build a bridge of light. That's what turns the wrong so right. That's why you gotta be strong tonight. That's when love turns nighttime into day. That's when loneliness goes away. That's why you gotta be strong tonight. 'Cause only love can build us a bridge of light. Only love can build us a bridge of light.
Fantastic song, isn't it? Now, one of the parts of the song that really spoke to me was that part that says, deep breath, take it on the chin, but don't forget to let love back in. So, you know, what do you do when especially a loved one, somebody very close and intimate to you, keeps on hitting you, as a matter of speaking, with the tongue and with attitudes and so on? It becomes very difficult to let love back in. So forgiveness is really, for me, to get to a point where you deal with it in order to let love back in. Because if you've been severely attacked, it doesn't only create problems with your heart, meaning your spirit and your emotions, it also causes a lot of damage in your brain. It has been scientifically proven that if a person has been abused over months and years, it actually causes like black spots on the brain. And the way they describe this black spots is it's nothing short than brain damage. So what's very important to understand is that from day to day, and especially in having very horrible circumstances in which you grew up, and maybe an alcoholic for a father or mother, or a lot of strife in the house and a lot of fighting in the house and so forth, one can actually surmise that it can actually impact direct on the brain and even cause damage. But what's important is that, as God says in the Bible, that every day is new, one's brain cells also renew every day. So in the brain cells renewing each day, the new brain cells can be taught differently than the old ones that has been damaged. In actual fact, in repathing my brain, in starting to think differently, in starting to reason differently, it has got a fantastic impact on my DNA, and it has also been basically proven scientifically that literally as I think, so my body acts or reacts on what I'm thinking. So if I can change my thinking, literally by breaking up old ways of thinking and building new avenues of thinking, it will affect the DNA and the RNA of my body. So in saying that, I then say hereditary diseases and sins from the fathers and the mothers can actually be neutralized by renewing our minds. Because the Bible then says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you are currently feeling hurt, you've got a lot of emotional and physical pain, you feel insecure and so forth, it's all got to do with either conscious or subconscious thinking. Now what's very important is more than 95% of the thinking is subconsciously. So we basically act on things that we've learned many years, decades ago, without even knowing why we do what we do in the way we do it. So it's important to, by working with a specific model, to get from the implicit, the subconscious stuff, in front and get it more explicit, so that one can see, oh, but this is how I'm thinking. This is why I do what I do with my child, because maybe my father did it to me. And this is why I yell like that at my child, because maybe my mother did it to me. I'm not trying to say where you are at is primarily and only the faults or the mistakes of your father and mother, because that's fixing the blame. I don't want to fix the blame, I want to fix the problem. But in the process, we must look at reality. So determining where you are at, you must start with looking at your relationship with your father, mother, and brothers and sisters. Why? Because that's a little nest that you were born into, and which you spend the first 20 years of your life. So most of your thinking comes directly from what you've learned there. And I've once studied in organizational development, which is a theoretical subject, that it's very difficult to believe that maybe your mother and your father were wrong in that regard and that regard. Listen clearly what I'm trying to say. I'm not degrading your parents. I'm just saying that one must be very critical and open-minded and have clarity with regards to what is it that you taught you that's right and what is it that they taught you that was wrong, so that you can leave the wrong, maintain the right, and maintain healthy relationships with your parents, because God says it's a prerequisite for a long life for you and a happy life for you. So what's very important here is, in addition to that, I look at the meaning of your name. what does your name mean? What verses in the Bible are directly attached to that meaning? What is a promise in the meaning of your name? And then I look at the spiritual talents or spiritual assessment saying, there's 28 talents in the Bible. What are your first, second, third, fourth, down to 28 talents? Why? Because if you know what God intended you to be, it's easy to flow in it. But if you don't know, how can you flow in it? In addition to that, I look at your genetics, I look at your lifeline determining all the ups and downs in your life, and to see to what extent those emotional hurts from the past are still influencing you. I'm going there, but I'm not going to sit down there. I'm not going to pitch a tent there. We go there, we heal the wounds, and you get ahead with your life. Now, in having done personal analysis, which encompasses 10 different tests, we also then look at business analysis. How's the politics at the macro level? The politics, how's the economy, how's the social environment, technological, legal, and so forth. And then we look at the strengths and the weakness inside your business, or your strengths and weaknesses at your work, which is work level. We talk about intrapreneurship, whilst if you've got your own business, it's entrepreneurship. I look at them both. So you don't have to have a business to come to the course. So normal people, well, normal professions as we know it, that are not having your own business, it's as good and as influential. Why? Because the competition is getting worse every day and people are being sacked, and only the knowledgeable ones are called back later. So this is all about knowledge. Why? To determine how you think currently. To restructure your thinking so that the thinking that you think now is aligned with the goals that you've got in future. So yes, what do? We restructure, we reculture, we re-engineer. It's a total makeover. That's why it takes a year. And having done it a year, you'll be able to come back next year and do it again and learn a million new things. We're looking forward for your commitment for the 2015 course, for your registration, and you'll never look back. I can assure you that. Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you. Let's go.